right, welcome to another edition of the Lowco Diamond Dudes. It's been a minute, fellas. We got busy, and then there was rain and just all kinds of janky stuff messed up the schedule. But here we are. It is the end of baseball and softball season for the high school level in the Lowco. It rolls on, as we all know. We'll all be back out there in a week or two, playing somewhere, whether it's the Beaufort County Adult Baseball League or travel baseball or whatever it is. But the high school season comes to a close, and it comes to close with a magical run for Beaufort High School, unfortunately ending with a couple of tough losses. All those games, one-run games in the lower state tournament. Terrific run for those guys, and a state championship for Patrick Henry, an unlikely one at the point that we left the farm the other night, Wes. It was 9-1 by the time we got in the car, and by the time we got back to Bluffton, it was 9-5, and they were getting more and ended up tying it up and winning in extras and had a party at the farm. And then they went out on Saturday and got the job done at Orangeburg Prep, beating Calhoun Academy. So we do have a state champ, and they're waiting in the green room. So we'll talk with them in just a minute. But how you been, fellas? Been a wild ride.
I'm doing well. And as the great Red Sox announcer Joe Castiglione would say, can you believe it? Because that was a comeback for the ages at the farm for the Patrick Henry Patriots. I mean, down 9-1. I wish I could have stayed until the end. That's why you don't leave games early. I mean, that's a good lesson for anybody. If you're going to a game, you never know what can happen. So don't leave the game early. That's lesson number one right there. But I mean, what a tremendous job by this team. Never quitting, even seeming insurmountable points. Just find ways to get runners on base and continue to battle to pull off that comeback. 4 in the fifth, and then 4 in the seventh to 4 sexters, and then winning runs the first extra inning to force it to a game 3 on Thursday. But then the rain came. We had to move it over to Saturday, and it was pretty much a coronation after they gave up those first 2 runs. It ended up being a 12-2 win, run rule victory as Hugh Ferry finishes it off with a single up middle to center field to pull off just an unbelievable state championship. I mean, a historic state title for Patrick Henry, getting there for the first 20 years or so, or 30 years, close to that, and then pulling off the victory in just an improbable manner. I mean, this is one for the history books, not just in Low Country, but in South Carolina high school baseball history. You may never see a comeback like this again.
It was a pretty wild one, and the guys are ready for their close-up. We saw them in the background mostly last week putting on some antics, but they're ready for their close-up. So let's get the state champion Patriots in here. Got the trophy. Congratulations, fellas.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, congratulations to you guys. We were hanging on every pitch, whether it was on Game Changer or Jeff Strickland was sending me updates while I was out there helping the Waves boys get warmed up, and then Wes started texting me updates, and it was going all over. We were hanging on every pitch, but not much drama in that championship game. I guess you guys used it all up in game 2, huh?
Yeah, it was. I hate this. I don't mean this in an arrogant way, but it was just a matter of time. The bats were coming
what a run.
Once we got Wes out of here on Tuesday, we were ready to roll. We were good to go. Yeah, it was. Bats came alive, got him in the car, and got him head back to Bluffton.
Yeah, I was ready to pin it on myself, but then I started thinking, wait, I went to JP2 and you didn't have any trouble there. And then I came out to the farm and you didn't have any trouble with St. John's Christian. So the factor that we're dealing with here is Wes, and it's a good thing I got him out of there when I did, or we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Man, I'm going to tell you what, we ran out of fireworks at the farm. The right field mafia had mortars, and they were setting them off. And after the game, whenever we went out there, they said, we didn't know it was going to be 10 runs, but hey, we'll take it. We'll take it. They were out there. They were figuring other ways to celebrate. I'll just put it that way.
Well, I know my guy Jarrett was out there, so there was definitely some wildness happening.
You know about that, Justin. He used to always run out of touchdown fireworks because they scored too many touchdowns.
I'm sorry, you lagged out there for a second. Wes, repeat yourself.
Yeah. No, I was. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
My apologies. My internet is lagging a bit today. So, But looks super. Yeah, you're talking about the fireworks over there. You're very familiar with that, Justin, because the Kansas City Chiefs ran out of fireworks a few times in their playoffs these last years because they're scoring so many touchdowns. So it's a good problem to have.
But I think you guys were
But,
pretty well
just,
stocked, though. They put on quite a show before you ran out, didn't you?
Oh yeah. that last inning. I mean, 9-5 and 2 outs. Heck, I think we had 2 strikes on the batter 2 or 3 times, and I'm sitting here trying to figure out what kind of post-game speech I'm gonna give, and next thing I know, we're running the home plate, and I don't know how it happened. I had to go back and look at it. It happened. It feels like it happened so fast, as a coach, but in reality, I mean, it was just the kids just never gave up. They just kept fighting to the last out, and that's an omen. Any young kids that are listening or anybody that's listening, if you got an out left, you got a chance.
Get in there, Wes. I think get in there with a question.
Just an unbelievable story, the way you guys continue to fight that last out. How proud were you, just the mentality and maturity of those kids and the demeanor walking up to the plate, doing the task at hand, just keeping the line moving. That's what it's about. I mean, you had to be super proud of how they attacked such a tough situation there late in Game 2 and then carrying it over to a dominant effort in Game 3.
Whenever you coach a bunch of kids that don't like to lose, that's what you're going to get. They do not like to lose. So they were going to fight. There wasn't any doubt about that. I mean, but y'all know, guys. I mean, 9-5, 2 outs, bottom of the 7th. I mean, you got to score 4 runs to get it to extras. And believe it or not, that shot that Forrest Ferry hit there in the bottom of the 7th with 2 outs, that left fielder, he had to make a running catch to catch that baseball, or the game was going to be over with them. But once we got Hugh on, and we came up, and Brighton Peoples came in and shut them down, and then we turned around and we got Hugh on. Hugh gets on in the bottom of the 8th. At that point, I think it was just a matter of time. I mean, we knew Hugh was going to take second base. We get a wild pitch, he moves up to third, and at that point, we're in the part of our lineup where we can at least get a fly ball in the outfield at worst to get him in. Andy Searles comes up with the bases loaded and lines one back up in the middle, and then we go on to Saturday, and we knew going to Saturday that it was going to be tough for Calhoun to come back from something like that, and they had 2 really good arms that pitched against us in the first 2 games, and those 2 guys were done. And the 2 that were behind them, they're not bad. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they throw strikes and they make you put it in play, but our guys were just determined on Saturday. They went out with a purpose.
Talk about the effort of Peoples on the mound in Game 2.
Let's let him talk about it. Brighton.
Hey, how about that effort there? 3 strong innings, no runs to keep your team in the game to allow that amazing comeback to happen. I mean, tell me about how you were dialed in, locked in to shut down Calhoun Academy and help your team come back.
I mean, I kind of didn't really feel anything because we come down 9-1. I couldn't really mess up anymore. What we already did, so the ball. About it.
I'm going to jack up y'all's mic a little bit. It's a little bit hard to hear the fellas over there, but Brighton, terrific effort, and then Chandler, let's hear about how you were feeling having to sit out Game 2. Obviously, weren't happy about that, but then you get the ball in Game 3. You were a raging bull coming out there, right?
Yeah, I was ready to go. I couldn't stand sitting there watching Game 2 and all that happen. I was a part of it. And then Game 3, everything was it was meant to be.
Well, it's tough when you lose your ace, when you have to depart from injury. And Charlie Saws was really one of the backbones who carried the team to this point. Just how did the team as a whole react when you had to see Charlie Saws leave the mound in Game 1, and then have to continue to fight and battle? Of course, he had the big three-run homer later in that ball game, but just how you guys kind of rally around him about suffering that tough injury, and just that next man up mentality for these other guys to get it done, rally back.
I mean, it did hurt whenever we saw him have to come off because we knew he was going to go out and shut things down, but we knew we had good arms behind him. Forrest Ferry came in. He threw really good. Had a pretty good game. Kept us in the ball game all game. And but we still had more. We had me, Hugh, Brighton, guys that can just go out there and shut people down. So I mean, it did hurt, but we definitely had some studs behind him.
Yeah, the depth definitely became a factor. You knew if you could get through that game 2, you'd have a great shot in game 3 because you felt like you guys had a little more depth, even with Charlie on the shelf. And we do want to send thoughts and prayers to Charlie because he's the one team member I think who's not with us today, getting an MRI today. So hoping for good outcome there, and certainly he's got a bright future ahead of him. And I'm sure there was a little bit of panic when you that kind of throws the plans into disarray. But how much did you guys kind of rally around that and trying to I think of the old South Carolina teams that won the national championships, the so what, win anyway mentality, and how much did you guys kind of rally around that as something to fire you up?
I mean, we just knew that was going to have to cause us to play harder. I mean, we're going to go out there and score a lot more runs, and just make it a ball game, and it really was a ball game. And we fought as hard as we could all 3 games. I mean, we just used that to power our way through, do the best we could every game. Everybody left everything out there, all that we had.
Mullis,
How fun was it that comeback and then in game 3 when the bats were clicking, scoring runs in bunches? I mean, that's exactly how you draw it up, and you had the crowd behind you, to rally you guys on just that magical end of game 2, moving that momentum over to game 3. How fun was that? Those last few innings, just putting up run after run after run, and find a way to overcome just an incredible sense of adversity there to win state title.
Yeah, get them Ferry boys in here.
Yes, sir.
The table setters.
We knew you guys had a great sense of team camaraderie because we've seen it in the background, the team building through the podcast and watching the joust and all that stuff. It takes a lot of team build. It takes a lot of teamwork. So we knew you had a shot, boys.
Yes, sir. Yeah, for sure.
See a joust or something. I mean, we got to see
what?
something. You can't leave it where you were. I mean, that was great.
Yeah, we got anything in plan, but Ferry brothers, tell me about your mentality that, especially that last game. I think you guys were a combined 6 for 7 with like 7 RBIs. So just setting the table. What were you guys looking to do at the plate? How locked in were you feeling?
I mean, just in this game 3, just go out firing all cylinders. It's the last game of the season. Give it your all. Leave everything on the field. Just that type of mentality. Just go us through game 3, and obviously
describe the moment when you walked it off, finished it off, and clinched it via that run roll here with the game-winning hit.
I'll say, yeah, like the pitch before that, I think I swung at an absolute awful pitch, but it's off my brother on third. But I was just trying to get the bat on the ball, do anything to bring him in, just finish that game. Because I knew once he got on third, I was like, this game's over. So I was just trying to do whatever I could to bring him in.
Hugh, you came back into that game, game 2, right? You'd thrown like 60-some pitches, I think, came out of the game, came back in to get that last out. How did you feel going back out there? Did you feel like you had, stayed in it enough that you were going to be okay? Were you praying that you guys scored so you didn't have to go pitch another inning?
I was confused. I didn't even know that was possible for me to come back in. So I was a little confused at first, but I was like, when I came back in, I was like, yeah, it's needed one more out, and I was just going to throw it in there, and hope I make some plays for me, and that's exactly what they did.
So you
you guys fell behind early in game 3. It was a 2-0 advantage for Calhoun. And, of course, you guys did a great job staying locked in. I believe Corley had a big hit early in that game. Corley with 2 hits. So someone who really stepped up in a big-time, game 3 winner-take-all matchup. So how did it feel out there getting some big hits in a championship game, decisive championship game?
I mean, man, it was awesome. Just going out, competing with the fellas, trusting them, forcing them down 2-0. But have faith in the guys. Just had to get one across. We were good for the rest of the game. We had it.
Absolutely, yeah.
How contagious did the bats become? I mean, you have the big innings at the end of game 2, and then it just I'm guessing when it started to click in the first inning in game 3, you were like, all right, yeah, we're just going to roll this thing over.
Yeah, I think definitely in game 2, We woke up around 5th, 6th, 7th inning. But game 3, they were just hot all game long.
That's like we set the bats in the sun before each game.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's a good old.
So they can stay hot.
That's right.
Yeah, you got to get them heated up. Get a nice starting point. I think when you woke up was right about the time when Coach said, "I need to see you guys. I need to see a competitor. I need to see somebody compete." I think that's about when you woke up, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
What else you got, fellas? Wes is frozen, I think.
Okay, I'm back on. The atmosphere at the farm, that comeback. Just describe how that felt for you to play in front. I mean, it was a.
I think he's saying it was a heck of a crowd. Tell us about just about that atmosphere and what it was like to play in front of that.
That's probably like the best atmosphere I've ever seen at any PHA sporting event.
Yeah, I can say something, man. The right field mafia, they've been sticking with us all season, and we love them. I mean, we had a student section going on.
Our student section stepped up big time. Made posters. Everything.
Also, the whole community. I mean, just people, friends, family, friends, everybody around just came to watch us. So the support was definitely huge.
Definitely on our side, and I think a huge factor, obviously, why we won.
Yeah.
And shout out to the Lowco SCISA community too, because I saw guys from BA and Thomas Hayward out there, and lots of folks liking our posts and stuff about you guys from Hilton Head Christian, Hilton Head Prep. So great to see everybody supporting you guys, and you kind of whipped everybody around here this year, so they kind of had to cheer you on to make them look better, right? So congratulations, fellas. Any parting thoughts for the Diamond Dudes audience before you go?
What are you doing to celebrate, guys?
Well, thank you for your support this year. We appreciate you, and I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll be back in this spot again next year. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
We'd love to.
That's the plan.
We'd love to see
some time to celebrate.
Yeah, what are we doing with this trophy? Is it getting passed around? Everybody gets to take it home for a little bit, or what's the deal?
Stanley Cupping.
Hey, as a matter of fact, Justin. But hey, Justin, next year whenever you come, you and Ned, y'all help yourself. Wes, you got to sit in the car. Just letting you heads up.
That's pretty funny.
All right, so we can get a barbecue sandwich and stuff. Just tell them put it on your tab.
Man, we had over 400 people here on Tuesday,
Awesome.
and our concession stand sold out of barbecue sandwiches, which is what you want to do, I guess. But they said they were done 4th inning.
Well, I'm glad we got one when we did, Wes. Got one early.
Delay, and those guys out there in right field, they needed to eat something. I can promise you.
They needed the bread. Soak some stuff.
Team Justin, they were not in good shape. They were not in good shape.
They weren't.
All right, fellas. Well,
out there.
We sure appreciate the hospitality. We appreciate the show that you gave us and the ride you took us on. And congratulations on a job well done. And best of luck to everybody. Summer ball or whatever you got going on next. And we'll see you next spring.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That's a 3, baby. That's a 3.
All right, good stuff from those guys. A little chaotic when you got that many people on a live show. Certainly, especially with the internet lag on Wes's end today. Nothing we can do about that. We're going live here, but definitely good times following those guys this year. And once again, we picked the right year to pick up Hampton County in our coverage area because we've had some real great stories and great characters out that way this season.
And to see the very end of what Hampton has sold before they come to Hampton, I think it was the best timing in terms of the decision to expand and from football season basketball now to this legendary baseball team that defied the odds to make an unbelievable comeback. It's really been fun to pick up some more teams, pick up some more players, hear the background, hear their stories. I got to meet Charlie Saw's mother. Giving him well wishes throughout the MRI today, and hopefully we get a speedy, strong recovery for him. Just great to be around these people. And I came up to some kids, some parents, and to get that recognition, to know that they're watching, they're listening to these podcasts. I think it's really cool.
Absolutely.
Well, I think it's just great too because that community went through a lot. with the national exposure. Hampton County didn't have the best light on it there for a long time. And for these kids to kind of get out of that cover a little bit and, show just, I'm telling you, there's just a lot of really good people down that way. And, they might make Wes stay in the car. I think he's pretty serious about that. But no.
And we'll see how it works in the car. You might just have to vacate the premises if that doesn't work out.
Sure. Oh, goodness.
We're not superstitious, but we are a little stitious.
They're definitely stitious. And, but no, just such a good run for those guys.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was fun to watch. I'm really sad that we weren't there for that comeback, but at the same time, like I seriously got home.
How close did they get? How close did they get?
It's a good thing we left before when we did.
I didn't know they had 10-run rules in the championship series.
They got the 10-run rules the whole way.
Well, they were down 9-1.
That's why
they were close to the rule there, yeah.
And it was 9-5 when I got home, and then within minutes it was 9-9, and they were going to extra innings. It was.
I don't know if that's a good rule or not. That thing.
Yeah, I'd kind of rather not see the run rule in a championship game situation.
Championship series, that thing needs to go away.
It's only a 7-inning game anyway.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Or tournament play where you have like a bunch of games going on, but that's not really the case there.
Speaking of that, did y'all see? Has anybody seen the stuff that was going on with Hanahan?
What do you mean?
They had to play 3 games within a 24-hour stretch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that was bananas.
What are we doing?
Yeah, I don't.
How can that be? How can the high school league say it's about kids' safety when you're making kids do that? Now
everyone was assuming that they would delay the start of the state championship series because their championship games were delayed.
Speaking of Hanahan, we'll run for Buford. We'll run for those Buford Eagles. Just another storybook team that they played a bunch of one-run games, and it looked like I thought they had a chance to come back against Brooklyn Casey. They were right there, down by 1, but unfortunately the Magic fizzled out for the Eagles. But just a great run to be part of. That's another team I remember. I had so fun. Maybe they'll definitely invite me back because the time I went there on Saturday, they walked it off to extend their season. They moved on to Brooklyn Casey after winning with Dreyer, which was magic in its own right. But man, you look back to that first game against Hanahan that could have gone either way. Just hurts to lose when that just a marathon game like that definitely gets to you mentally, and it makes the path harder. So it's just those small mistakes that come back to bite you in a game like that, and it's just tough to swallow. But still, what a fantastic run for the Eagles.
You think of the run those seniors had, I think a lot of those guys were on that. But, they had a lower state championship run 2 years ago.
Yep, they lost things down.
And then they, I can't remember if they lost in the first or second round last year, but went into the second round this year. That's a pretty good run for a bunch, through 3 years. You can't ask much more out of a class.
And those are some quality teams. Very, very good. Dreyer is a very good baseball team. To play Hanahan and Brooklyn Casey to one run, and especially the way they came back against the Bearcats. And they do up against an 8th grader who was setting them down over there. Eventually left the game, but that was some impressive stuff right there from that young Brooklyn Casey pitcher.
That was a savvy move coaching wise too, because they threw him the below the slot guy and below the threshold, as Mullis says, and it kind of threw him off. And by the time they figured it out, then they brought in that Etheridge kid, and they hit him pretty good. So if they'd have started him, that might have been a different game.
Let me tell you, under 78 or over 88, it'd have shut it down.
The threshold.
But you fall in the middle somewhere right there, and look out.
Yep. Yeah. At our level, 12U, it's like the under 50,
and
under 55 and over 65 is like where we are. You get it up there 70, it starts to become a problem. But no, a bunch of those guys were part of that run a couple of years ago. And of course, the flip side is what might have been, because they were up 6-1 in that first game against Hanahan, and if they can just lock that thing down, you still got 9 outs to go. It's a long way to go, but if they could have locked that one down, they would have been sitting pretty, going the rest of the way, and we might still be talking about baseball season. But that's baseball,
You knew they were in, for Gilbert to be a 3 seed out of that region.
Yeah.
So you
The
talking
water
about
was deep this year
in BC, and they, those guys. That's like I said, man. Gilbert's not a typical 3.
No. Well, they made 6 errors in that game, that Hanahan game. So any one of them, and they're win that game, and then they're set up pretty good the rest of the way. But not to be this time. But man, they definitely had a heck of a run, especially from where they were at the end of the regular season, kind of just beaten up and through the ringer, and kind of took their lumps against Hanahan, and looked like they might just kind of pack it in. But no, sir, they definitely stood up and fought their butts off and had a heck of a run. So congrats to those seniors, particularly for, terrific careers, and best of luck to them at the next level. Had Zach Talbert on a couple weeks ago, and he was awesome. Been a pleasure to cover for sure. Mason Connolly had a really good career as well, and going on to play at the next level too. Carter Bauer, Sox, Chase McKelvey, a bunch of guys. So best of luck to those fellas at the next level. Guys, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk about some all-region teams, as well as a little bit more about what we saw this season, and give some shout-outs here on the Lowco Diamond Dudes.
Hey, Lowco sports fans. This podcast and all of our grassroots local sports content are made possible by support from community sponsors, including Mickelson Law Firm, the official real estate attorneys of Lowco Sports, and the presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage. Our original sponsors are still among our greatest supporters. Ryan and Tiffany Mickelson are community pillars who will be in your corner no matter your legal needs. When you need legal representation, call on the attorneys who support Team Lowco. Call Mickelson Law Firm. Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, the official hospice provider of Lowco Sports, and the only not-for-profit hospice in southern Beaufort County. For more than 30 years, the committed, compassionate staff at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry have been there to ensure your loved ones find comfort, honor, and dignity at the end of life. Because at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, it's not about dying, it's about living. Homegrown Home Inspections, the official home inspectors of Lowco Sports. Jan Lucas and his team provide thorough, detailed home inspections aimed to ensure everyone goes into the transaction with open eyes and confidence. Jan would rather reveal an inconvenient truth than look the other way and provide reassurances that could come back to burn the buyer in the long run. If you're looking to buy or sell a home and need an honest, reliable inspector, call on Homegrown Home Inspections, official sponsors of Lowco Sports. DDS Web Design, official SEO experts of Lowco Sports. If your business or organization has a website and you're trying to figure out what SEO is, you need to call on Denise and Dave Sinkovich at DDS Web Design. They'll provide a free consultation and do all the behind-the-scenes work to boost your search engine optimization and get your website found online so you can take your business to the next level. DDS Web Design, official SEO experts of Lowco Sports. American Wood Reface, sustaining sponsors of Lowco Sports. Does your kitchen need a facelift? Before you start picking out new cabinets, give Ben and the team at American Wood Reface a shot. They can reface your existing cabinets to overhaul your aesthetic without the hefty price tag and reimagine your kitchen at a price point you can manage. Be sure to tell them Lowco sent you, because every referral helps support Lowco Sports. 4M Metals, sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports. Got metal? Your roof might need it. Metal roofing advantages include better energy efficiency, weather protection, longevity, a more aesthetically pleasing design, and the product is all green. So if you've been thinking about a new roof, go metal. Let 4M Metals be the difference in your roof. Jay's Barbershop. It's the talk of the town and the place to be in Ridgeland. If you need your ears lowered, head over to Jay's for a fresh cut and great conversation with good folks. And tell them Lowco sent you. Local Pie, official pizza sponsor of Lowco Sports. They sling some of the best pies in the Lowco, and my kids say the mac and cheese is the best around. Hungry? Hit up Local Pie, longtime supporter of Lowco Sports.
Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry, the official floor cleaners of LowcoSports.com. If your feet tell you your floors need cleaning, call on Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry. They provide residential and commercial services, including cleaning carpet and area rugs, tile and grout, upholstery, curtains and drapes, mattresses, and more. But most importantly, they'll get those floors so clean, your feet will thank them. Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry.
Hilton Head Prep is a sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports, and we tell you all about the Dolphins' athletic exploits. But did you know it's also the #1 ranked private K-12 school in Beaufort County and ranks in the top 2.5% of schools nationwide? Visit hhprep.org to see what Hilton Head Prep has to offer. Beaufort Academy is a sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports, and we love covering the Eagles. With a student-to-faculty ratio of 7-1 and an average class size of 14 students, Beaufort Academy could be just the educational solution you're looking for, with more one-on-one attention. BA has a strong history of working with the whole child to prepare each student for college and life. Check them out at BeaufortAcademy.org. Thank you to all of our sustaining and supporting sponsors for their support of LowcoSports.com. Go Lowco.
All right, back on Lowco Diamond Dudes, Justin, Jarrett, along with Wes Kerr and Ned, Butch, Mullis, and talking baseball and softball in the Lowco. And fellas, we got some all-region teams coming out this the past couple of weeks. Some of your Sharks getting the shout out on there, Mullis. We got in Region 7 4A from May River, Will Korn, of course. Tyson Brazington, who I believe also was the only Lowco guy on the All-State team, if I'm not mistaken. He made it as both an outfielder and a pitcher, so shout out for that rare feat. From Hilton Head, got Brad Larson, Jake Richardson. Richardson also on there twice as a catcher and a pitcher. And then Carleton County, Cam Farnsworth, Davion Varner, who we gave love to all year, Michael Ortiz. Varner also two-way guy. All right, lots of two-way guys making it on there, so good stuff there. And James Island, of course, cleaning up. Tanner Beckley, Taj Marchand, Stowe Rogers, Jake Amon, Keeler Osborne, Matt Spivey, and Osborne, the player of the year. So certainly a lot of, and I think I missed a couple on there. Oh, Cody Bratt.
That's a tough
Cody
region.
Bratt also. That's a tough list to crack, man. There's some good.
That was a heck of a team to go up against. That's a loaded team right there, Mullis.
Yeah. Oh, Keeler didn't even make it as a two-way guy. That's the first person we've had make it as a two-way guy, and that's a heck of an achievement. You know, to make it both as a pitcher and a position player, that's a really good achievement.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of them. Of course, Jake Richardson, who was cleaning up at the dish.
I saw two guys. That's the first time I've ever seen it out of this region, and two of them did it.
Yeah.
I think Hogan Garner did it a couple years ago.
We got three because Varner did also.
Yep.
And I'm guessing that Osborne, he's listed as pitcher and player of the year. So I'm guessing.
Yeah, but I guess that's what they meant. But he didn't make it as an outfielder is what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Willie made it as a center fielder.
Yeah, you're correct. Your outfield is Korn, Larson, and Brazington, which is a wicked outfield, by the way. That'd be a pretty nice one.
And then Cody, too. I mean, you think about Cody and Keeler. I mean, think about those five outfielders.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, it's a strong. It was a strong region this year. It really was. The talent level was very good. Beaufort guys on the 8-3A team. I haven't seen Battery Creek guys who made it, but Hudson Mullen, Logan Butcher, Jaden Andrews, and Zach Talbert. You would expect all those guys to be on there. And then I've got a big old SCISA 3A list. Peyton Bullock from Hilton Head Prep, Pace Gartner from Hilton Head Prep, Jackson Stanyard, Connor Campbell, Chris Bueso, all from Prep, Keen Reese, Matt Scarpa, James Crosby from Hilton Head Christian, and Garrett Heathcott and Archer DeWig from JP2. Got a few honorable mention guys as well. Then Chris Wells, the Coach of the Year, and Peyton Bullock, the Player of the Year. So if anybody else has all region teams, pass them along, and we'll talk about them on a future episode. But
what stands out here for this SCISA group, Peyton Bullock's effectiveness on the mound, the .29 ERA, 63 Ks, 6 walks. I mean, just ridiculous numbers, dialed in video game type stuff there from Bullock this year. on the mound, and then kind of same at the plate. 469. You look at how he was able to get some effectiveness in the stolen bases category with 13. Really a complete player with so many different tools that has been able to help the Silton prep team pick up a bunch of wins. And it was a team that I thought, surprised a lot out of me, just because of, how competitive they were against some strong teams. They were very, very close to going all the way to the state championship series and winning it. They lost to PD Academy, the eventual champions, by just one run. They were a couple inches away from a walk-off homer from Pace Gardner in that game. So this Hilton Head prep team were very close for taking home that title. I mean, just a stellar group offensively. Just you look back in some of those playoff games, unable to get enough runs to really get to where they wanted to go. The clutch hits weren't there as often as you wanted, but what a fun squad it was to watch this year. Pace Gardner also terrific on the mound. A lot of two-way guys. Jackson Sanders. I mean, the list goes on for the and you see that more often for SCISA with guys who will play both ways, who will pitch and also hit. But their ability to do it so effectively against still a tough schedule. You're going up against a JP2 team that was very good. Going against the Hillhead Christian Academy team, who was one of the best squads that we've seen over the last few years HHEA. That was a team that had a lot of swagger and played some good baseball this year. Keen Reese, really fun to watch him play. Matthew Scarpa, he's been quite the guy for their HHA, especially on that football team. But a lot of stud athletes here on the SCISA 3A list. And then Chris Wells, what a masterful job that he continues to do, a veteran leader, and continuing to show off his knowledge of the game, his ability to get the most out of the tools that he has in his pocket.
I saw a tweet, something JW put out about that Christian team the other day. It was something about all those good teams they played. And, and you do have to test your guys.
You do. But
you got to knock them off. If you go test them, that's something Shane and I talked about, that tough schedule they had. I know we've done it at May River in the past where we play anybody, anywhere, anytime type thing. Well, you still got to go knock them off. And when when it comes to playoff time, I take that Patrick Henry team. I just think they knew how to win.
Yeah.
Not saying that these other teams didn't, but it's a grind. And
it goes beyond knowing how to win. It's like a refusal to lose.
Well,
there's like a tug of war, want to battle it.
You go back, I'll tell you what, I saw Prep play a couple times this year. And it didn't surprise me that they were winning because they did a lot of little things right. When they needed to get a bunt down, you were just talking about that pitcher, the lefty. The dude always laughs like Glavin.
Bullock.
Watch that dude bunt.
Yeah.
I mean, when it's time to get a bunt down, he get it down. And I mean, I tell you, that's our playoff game against Hartsville. I don't leave disappointed very often, but I left disappointed that day. I thought we left runs on the table. I thought about as bad a game we played all year, and that's disappointing. And when you get into the playoffs, you just can't do that.
And that's what unfortunately hindered Hilton Prep a couple too many errors and just a couple missed opportunities in terms of the offensive department. And that's what decides it. The margins are razor thin.
Well, and that's what you see Patrick Henry. It seemed like every time they got a runner in scoring position, that guy scored. And, and they don't walk a whole lot of people. And that's what it comes down to late. And, and let's face it, I tell our guys all the time, it is hard to explain a high school baseball season because it goes from hurry up and wait to a 100-yard sprint. I mean, it ain't a 5K. It's not a marathon. I mean, 20 games goes by, 20, 26, 28 games goes by fast.
Yeah.
And, you go from getting a lot of practice in to not getting to practice a whole lot.
Yeah.
And, the kids have to take that mentality of we got to take it serious while we're here because, man, it goes fast. And you can win all you want in travel. You can do everything. When you're
look
playing
at the numbers, you get so few at bats. You get so few at bats in a high school season.
And that's why you have to struggle. That's why you have to struggle so hard in the early season to get live looks to get them prepared.
Mm-hmm.
and you might be getting a guy out of basketball or wrestling, and then it just really condenses that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's because you got to take the first couple of weeks to kind of start working them in.
Yeah, and if they miss that first tournament when you get a bunch of reps, then that's like your spring training, and then they're behind the 8 ball trying to get back in the swing. But your guy Tyson, I just saw that Tyson hit 605 in region.
What is
a sophomore?
How many hits did he? His number of hits was insane.
He had 23 hits in 10 region games, 2.3 hits per game in region play. That's ridiculous. 15 runs. So he scored a run and a half per game in region play.
I saw some crazy numbers. How many steals did Cody have?
I don't know, but he had a ton. Well, he had a ton early, especially. Like, he had a bunch in that one game against Patrick Henry. He had like
felt like he had about 15 against us.
That's right. He was driving you mad, right?
Good Lord. I don't think I've ever picked off that much in a game.
He ended up with 46.
That's a lot.
46 of 49.
That's a lot.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, that, and you couple that with Tyson's hitting numbers. I mean, those we'll do this for a while, boys, and we won't see those kind of numbers very often.
46 stolen bases. I got to check with my guy Alan Arsenault, make sure he wasn't fudging those. I think he was the game changer. He better not be counting every wild pitch as a stolen base. I don't know, though. I used to give them a stolen base if it was a good dirt ball read. If they got going before the ball got to the catcher, I gave it to them because that's a good read. Good job.
And that's another thing we're talking about winning games.
Dirt ball reads is super important. Super important. Free bases and free outs. That is the difference very often. But we got to talk a little softball too, guys. Our teams flamed out a little bit earlier on the softball side, but Colleton had a nice run, Beaufort had a nice run, and I had a good time the other day because I sat down in the dugout with some of the Bluffton girls who are going on to play at the next level, all 4 of them. In fact, Katie Ryan going to King University in Tennessee, Parker Ray going down to Embry-Riddle in Daytona, Alyssa Rose, of course, staying right here at USCB. And then the latest addition was Olivia Harrison, who's going to Salkehatchie, and, probably not where she ever dreamed she would be going, but she decided her senior year that she really wanted to play college softball and not sell herself short. And that was where she got the opportunity. So she is embracing it, and she's an awesome kid, and actually looking forward to working with her as a potential Lowco intern. But let's hear from these girls. It's going to be about 8 minutes, and then we'll be back with more here on the Lowco Diamond Dudes. Tell me about hold up. The idea that the fact that 4 of y'all teammates are all going on to play at the next level and kind of reflect on, what it was like, what you thought a few years ago when that was the goal, and now to all be standing here together in your different college shirts has to feel pretty good.
I think it feels good. I think it's very bittersweet, but I think that a few years ago, none of us really thought we would have been all sitting here next to each other, because I feel like a lot can happen in those kinds of years. So I feel like for all of us to kind of push through and actually achieve our goals I'm very proud of each and every one of you, and I wouldn't want to be sitting next to anybody else. I'm glad I got to watch this journey with all of you guys.
I'll go. Our recruiting processes between the 4 of us were very, very different. Like Alyssa committed really early, and I know me and Katie texted about it a lot. Like, I like this school, but I just don't know. So it's crazy to see, like, it all happened, like all of our hard work over the time and throughout the recruiting process paid off, and the 4 of us get to sit here as college signed athletes is really cool.
I just remember, I think I texted every single one of these, and I was like, yeah, like, I don't know if they I like this school, but then again, I don't know, and what happens if I don't even want to play, and what happens if I don't like it. And then I feel like I texted PK, I think, after my visit, and I was like, PK, like, this is it, this is what I want to do. And she kind of knew. She was like, you just get a feeling. I have that text, and like in my phone, and I kind of look at that a lot, and I'm thinking she knew exactly what I was going through, and it really helped to know that she had the exact same feeling I did, which really made me feel better about my decision.
Yeah, they came to me, well, especially Katie. She was like, I want to go to this school. Like, this, I think this is the school. I really want to talk to these coaches. And I was like, you're going to know. Like, as much as you say, I want to go here, like, the school is going to pick you. And so I think you can tell that happened for all of us, because I know you were way different from me, because I had a huge list, and she kind of said USCB is it, and that happened for her. And then Liv was so much later than the rest of us, but like she didn't even know if she wanted to play, but now she gets the opportunity, and you can tell that that's truly where her heart wants to be.
What changed? Just you got to the end and it couldn't be the end?
I knew almost as soon as the season started that I was better than I've been, and I knew I could be so amazing if I had the opportunity, and an opportunity presented itself to me, and I'm ready to be the athlete that I've dreamed of being my whole life. So
Great.
Amazing answer. Liz?
Yeah, I was gonna say I knew, because obviously I committed way earlier than they did, but I knew they were gonna end up at the same goal as I did. Like, I knew it was gonna happen, and the amount of travel ball tournaments I've been with Katie, like I've been out with Katie, and like she was stressing over this, but like I just kept telling her, I was like, I know you're gonna get there. I was like, I know you are going to be able to play college at the next level, and like you just get a feeling like these are the girls I want to be with.
And it just gets so hard because everybody around me I felt was signing, and they knew exactly what they wanted to do, and there's me, and I had no idea. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I didn't know where I was going to go, and it's just so hard because you feel like these walls are kind of closing in on you, and you feel like you're running out of time, and then all of a sudden you're where you're supposed to be, and they really helped me see that because they kept telling me that it's going to be okay, that you're going to be okay, you're going to end up where you need to be, and that's where I am now, so I thank them a lot for that.
Whatever happens, happens.
Exactly.
Right?
You cannot
Trust
force
the process.
I was
Whatever
trying to force
happens,
it.
happens.
You can't force it. I was trying to force it, and the second I stopped trying to force it, everything kind of just fell into place.
What advice do you guys have for? I mean, all of you, I think, have already been involved, like coaching younger girls at some level, and so you obviously want to kind of help them in their journeys as they follow in your footsteps. But what advice do you have for them? You know, if they're sitting there, I don't know, 10 or 12 or 14 years old, and they have the same dream you did.
You can do it. I know you can, and it's going to be rough, and softball, it's a game of life. It really is. So what you learn outside of these lines is what you need in the game. So the game of softball replicates the game of life, and appreciate it. Learn that you're going to fail more than you succeed, and I feel like that's just a part of the game, and that's also life. So keep going, keep moving forward, and find people that you really love and you truly enjoy being around, because if it wasn't for them, I would have quit this game a long time ago. It's so much more about the relationships you're making on the field rather than the stat at the end of the year. So I encourage them to make the relationships, trust your coaches, trust yourself, and go do what you want to do and make it happen.
I would definitely say trusting the process is the biggest part, and putting in hard work, because once you practice something for like a million times, like you can't just expect to go into a game without practicing and being like, oh, I'm gonna hit a home run, or I'm gonna make like the best play ever at shortstop. You have to put in the work, and those 100 reps that you do will end up translating into a game. It'll make it so much easier for you whenever you're playing like tough competition, especially when you like start aging up and going up into different levels.
I think embrace failure. Embrace one thing that my hitting instructor says that has stuck with me for years and is a little crude, but she says embrace the suck. You're gonna suck. These are some of the best athletes in my age group that I've seen play. I've known since I started that these girls were gonna advance their careers. When they say, they're like, I didn't know I would play. I did. But I mean, I think we can all agree that we've all had horrible games. I mean, we've all had bad practices. We've all made mistakes on mistakes on mistakes. We've all struck out. And I mean, Major League Baseball players, they're having a good season if they hit 3/10 of the time that they're up to bat. And that,
Amazing
looking at that
season.
from any other perspective, any other like aspect of life, if you get a 3 out of 10 on your math test, you sucked. You get a 3 out of 10 in baseball or softball, you are golden. So I mean, you're gonna have bad seasons. I had a horrible fall season this year, and I ended it with a home run after going for however many at bats I had, and that is a good full travel season that I had at the end of the day, even with that much bad. So just remember that, I mean, with the amount of work that you put in, that's what defines how the game is going to go for you. I sucked and I swung every day, sometimes up to like 3 hours a day off the tee in my backyard until I didn't suck anymore. So, I mean, just work. I've gone from the bench to being a starter on almost every team that I've been on, because even if I was the worst player on that team, I was the hardest worker on that team. So that's my advice.
Amen. Sister Olivia, that was amazing.
That went on for a minute.
Preach
Sorry,
at the
guys.
Church of Lowco.
That's great.
No, that was phenomenal. That was like, you guys are model student athletes. Like, seriously, like, you guys are awesome role models. I appreciate you, and it's been an absolute pleasure, y'all. And we're back. Playing producer here, but I told you, Mullis, that's a good bunch of girls there.
Good grief.
Really enjoyed talking with them.
Every week they get better. Every interview gets better.
Right? That's what I wasn't even sure where we were going with that, and then it ended up just all of them talking, and I was like, well, that was a self-contained segment. You guys said all the right things in the perfect amount of time. So
Tell you what, that's exactly who these young boys and girls look up to. I mean, a terrific group of young women who absolutely, know the right way to be influencers and to influence other people to, follow in their footsteps and just have that right mentality of embracing the failure, because that's what baseball and softball entails. And really life. I mean, you're going to have setbacks any direction you choose to pursue, because that's what builds you, and that's what makes you stronger. So to see those young women, preaching about what it takes to succeed in softball, there are many similarities. So that can apply to not just softball, but sports and life in general. And that's what it takes. Model student athletes who put the work in the classroom and then go out to practice 5 days a week, plus maybe sometimes twice in one day, and continue to hone their game. And it takes a lot of sacrifice and dedication, but they have proved it can be done. And it's not going to fall into place immediately. It's going to take time. It's going to take some setbacks. But if you continue to embrace that grind, it's going to work out for you. And it's exactly what has happened for these terrific 4 young ladies.
And I think they kind of showed the kids today of kind of what the new norm is. We had JB on a couple of weeks ago. That early commitment deal is done. Yep. It's over. You're going to be able to you're going to have a whole lot better. I'll use James Lehman as an example. James was committed to go to Wofford before he played a varsity baseball game.
Right.
And, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that the whole system has changed in that short amount of time. Mm-hmm. I don't look at James being that old. And, I love how those girls are getting an opportunity. And that's the first thing you're going to see is the whole COVID thing is starting to reset itself finally. I don't think you can quantify the impact, how unfair everything ended for those guys, the 2020 kids, the 2021 kids. For those college guys to get, they didn't do anything for a high school guy. Yeah. If you're a 2020 guy, you just got screwed.
Yeah, you just lost your senior season.
Not only that, you lost your freshman season and your sophomore season of college.
Yeah.
And, if they've been over backwards for every NCAA guy and gave them basically 2 years. They got a half a season. They got, 25 games. And, hey, we're going to give you that season plus one more. And then they didn't take into consideration what they were doing to the 2020 guys. And that's just resetting itself now. Josh Patterson, what? Is he a junior at USCB?
Who knows? Who knows what year anybody is? I don't even ask what year you are. Ask how many years of eligibility do you have?
That's exactly right. It was I've never seen anything like it where, I'll just be glad, and no knock on any of those guys either. Seriously, but I'm tired of hearing super seniors.
You can be a redshirt senior. You can have a
sophomore.
Hey, it's time to move on, boys, and let's do something else.
I keep getting older. They say the same. Yeah, it's gotten a little out of hand, but certainly, like you're saying, I think it creates more opportunity for
Higgins
the
got another
quote unquote late bloomer.
Yeah.
The late bloomer type that isn't necessarily on the radar when they're 16, but by the time they're 18, they're a dude. I think it gives them a little bit more of a fighting chance.
Well, it's like Zach Murdaugh. I was telling you about Murdaugh the other day. I mean, that guy, when he was 145 pounds, you don't really, 82 mile an hour fastball with a really good curveball, we can deal with that, but he was still a really good pitcher.
Yeah.
Well, Zach's a little bit heavier now, and he was 86, 88 the other day. Now, that's a different animal.
Him and JJ Majinski are the aces for the Gamecock club baseball team, right?
That was it. I think this the week they're at the College World Series for that.
I don't know. I tried to recruit Murdaugh for my from a men's league team, but he said he's too busy working this summer to play one night a week.
That's pretty good 1-2 pop at the beginning of a pitching lineup.
Not bad, especially for a club team.
Oh yeah.
Well, those club teams, man, those are good teams.
They're
Absolutely.
Strong talent in the college baseball, that could have a chance to play college baseball. So that's some high end talent. It is just a level of competitiveness of getting on these college teams. It just tougher.
I met the assistant director of baseball operations at Clemson this weekend, Brad Owens' little assistant. And I said, well, what year are you? And he's like, oh, I'm a junior. And he's like, and you could just tell he knew baseball.
Yeah.
And we're talking, and I said, well, Huddy, where'd you play? And he goes, oh, I was a second baseman for AC Flora.
Oh.
Well, he won a couple state championships, pretty good baseball player. But I said, it's, don't get frustrated when your books outrun your baseball, because there's more avenues, and that's one of my favorite sayings around here. There's a lot of these guys that can play college baseball, but their books are going to outrun their baseball because we have unbelievable students.
Yeah.
And you don't
want one of those in my house.
We had the signing service at May River, but we had a bunch of scholars who earned some very prestigious scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
It's really impressive, especially at May River, the high academic standard that has been built there and all these high achieving students. You looked at Brooks Van Ness, the National Merit Scholar, and some of the others were earning these big time scholarships academically as well as some top athletes. So
you get in the top 10% at that school and you've done something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's don't put the cart before the horse. It's school first.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got something fun for you guys. I got to coach against old Brett Gardner this weekend. Got to hang out with him out at the ballpark. We've crossed paths a couple times. Last year we saw him over at Shipyard. He played at College Charleston and lives in Charleston. And his son was playing for the Warhawks last year out of Charleston, and we played them at Shipyard. We got to talk with him a little bit, and he was, not retired yet then, but was not rostered, and it was speculated that he might be coming back to the Yankees. So he was kind of laying low. He just making sure nobody got a picture or anything. But saw him this weekend, and he's coming out there in full gear. He's on the coaching staff for the Palmetto Panthers, and I was like, is that Gardy? And we had a good little talk, and they got a good little ball club. We actually beat them 4-3 in a really good game, and then we lost our second game to the team that ended up the number 1 seed, and then we got rained out Sunday. So
that $3 million or that 3-year $40 million contract can send you into retirement, send you into coaching travel baseball pretty easily, you would think.
Yes, and he seemed to, I will say there's a certain idea you might have about Brett Gardner from his persona as a player and when he was on the field. It does not match up with the guy that I've interacted with at all. He has been like the most down to earth, coolest guy. Had great conversations with him, and he seems to be really having a good time out there coaching kids.
Well, and all the young kids, if we, any of the players that are watching this, look into a little bit of his past. If you don't talk about Perseverance, that's a walk-on guy at the College of Charleston. He got cut. I think he might have got cut twice.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken. I know he got cut once. I know his first year they didn't keep him. And he just went back to work and just kept on and kept on him and kept on him and kept on him. I don't think he started till he was a junior.
Wow.
And, then he just had a couple massive years.
Yeah.
And, he just kept on, just like that girl said a minute ago, she just kept working, kept working, kept working.
How about that 30-year-old Mark Apple just got the call up with the Phillies. He's in the minors for many years, and at the age of 30, he finally makes it to the show.
Oh, speaking of the minors, is Carmen? I'm hearing Carmen might get pulled up. Is that?
I think it's a possibility.
I mean, I've been seeing people clamoring for him in Pittsburgh for a while. But
I know the last couple of weeks he's pitched well.
Yes, he has. He had a good outing just the other day. I saw.
And
you think about mostly bullpen work.
You look at how hard that was, or how hard. Just think about what he's trying to do. I watched the thing on Jack Leiter and Rocker the other day, and Jack Leiter was about as can't miss a prospect as you're going to see coming out of Vandy, and he's just in high A, right? I mean, I don't think he's even in Double A yet.
Right. And, I think you're right.
He's the same age as Carmen, and Carmen's knocking on the door.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
Carmen will be there this year, I think. If he stays healthy, they're going to need bullpen help at some point.
And then Rocker's getting his second Tommy John. I mean, it's, and like I said, those guys got a lot of pomp and circumstance, but this is the ship's passing in the night deal.
Mm-hmm.
And
hey, our little 12-year-olds have started to notice that. They've started pointing out kids to me and going, hey, you remember when that kid was 9?
Well, I can tell you right now, I talked with Coach Butler about Carmen, and it is just a foregone conclusion to every coach and everybody in that organization that he is the hardest worker.
Yeah.
And he was by far the hardest worker I ever saw in high school. And, I mean, and I heard the same things about when he was at Carolina. And, that it's not surprising.
I mean, that's really the difference. I mean, the talent level of these professional players, there's not much difference. It really comes down to how much you want. I mean, that's the difference at the end.
No question. Well, hey, guys, I got to wrap this thing up so I can go coach a softball game. But any shout-outs that we would like to give? Lowco gyms left over that we didn't get to?
Well, I think it's got to be the
go Patrick Henry. And
Killer Whales.
I could pick. Nope.
Our softball team of the week is the Killer Whales.
The Killer Whales, number 6 seed in the BYS Angels 10U bracket. We knocked off the number 3 seed from Beaufort. We knocked off the number 2 seed from Bluffton. Now we got the number 1 seed from Beaufort awaiting us here in about an hour and a half. So I got to go get in the cage and get these girls warmed up, try to take this championship.
My scout in here in the living room says y'all have good pitching.
We do. Katie Ferguson has been an ace for us all year. Zoe Waddell has filled in a little bit when needed, but Katie's been the girl. She was awesome the other night. 6 runs allowed in 5 innings in 10U rec softball is pretty good.
Hard to beat.
It's hard to beat. Yeah, it's pretty tough. So we're hoping we can do it one more time. They're excited. It's
hey, we got the number 3.
I lost you there, Wes.
Miami 2.
I lost you. There you go. There you're back.
Yeah, I mean,
what was that?
Oh, I was saying, you look at what's going on with the Miami Heat up 3-0 and the Florida Panthers up 2-0, both number 8 seeds going to the tournament. So you never know what can happen if you get in.
Michael Block almost won the dang PGA Championship for a minute. That was good times. But all right, fellas. Well, I guess that does it for high school baseball and softball season, and we'll continue to seek sponsors to keep this show going throughout the baseball calendar, so to speak. And hopefully we'll be continuing this on throughout the summer. And if not, we'll see you in the spring, certainly for the Lowco Diamond Dudes. But it's been a blast talking with you guys, and I think we'll find a way to keep doing it.
Oh yeah, we got the ACC SEC tournament coming up this weekend. Regionals coming after that. Might have to do a live remote. What do you think?
Oh, there we go. We might have to.
I think I know where there's going to be a regional.
Ooh boy, we could have maybe a couple in South Carolina, right?
I might be
Perhaps.
3. Well, I think there'll be 2, but it's baseball time now, boys.
We're going all the way through the World Series. This podcast isn't stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, if there's orange going to Omaha, I think we will be riding, boys.
Going on location.
Making a trip. Oh,
all right, fellas.
Angela said there's no orange going to Omaha.
And I love Angela piping in from
Might
the
be some
background
garnet
on the live show. Good stuff.
Teal.
All right, fellas. Well, it's been a blast. Thanks so much to the guys from Patrick Henry for jumping on and for entertaining us, especially here in the postseason. It's been good times. And thanks so much to our sponsors who make it all possible, and to you for showing up to listen or watch. For Wes Kerr and Ned Mullis, I'm Justin Jarrett. And until next time, go Lowco.